We Red Sox fans, we got about 20 seconds of happiness in this 2025 season. They've won 5 in a row. They sweep the Yankees. Their starting pitching looks great. Finally, here we go. They're starting to win again. They're over 500. Bam! The most unnecessary trade maybe in the history of the franchise, which is saying a lot, comes about. Raffy Devers to San Francisco for a bunch of nobodies, for a bag of baseballs. Nah, actually, that would have been more valuable to the team than what they got in return. Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, James Tibbs, and Jose Bayo. These guys don't have a chance in this market. They don't have a chance. It is the most shocking Boston sports trade of my lifetime. Like, I'm talking out of nowhere. The Mookie Betts trade sucked. Nobody wanted it. That will go down as one of the worst ever, but we knew that was coming. Okay? Nomar, stunning, but was it that stunning? He's at the end of a contract. He had already turned down extension offers. The Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett one, they're way past their prime. This is it. This is the most shocking trade in Boston sports of the last 25, 30 years. Because it really doesn't make any sense when you break it down. And I'll go into the reasonings here. Like, I love being able to understand what the reasoning is behind a trade. I love cosplaying as GM. But I can't find a good one here. So Raffy Devers is traded after hitting the home run to give you the insurance to sweep the Yankees. Right before they're about to go cross country. Oh boy, does this reek of just total Red Sox cowardice, right? Right before they go out west, they trade Raffy Devers to San Francisco, a team they're going to be playing on Friday, by the way. And all they get back is a bunch of guys you've never heard of. So I'm trying to figure this out. Why are they doing this? The prevailing thought is it's a salary dump. The Red Sox have a top 5 left-handed hitter in all of baseball. He's in his prime. He's having a great year, and they salary dump him in the middle of the season when things are starting to go well. How does that make any sense? Seriously. How can you justify doing that? The other one is, so San Francisco is taking on all $250 million of his contract. Wow, isn't that great? The other was reported through the Boston Globe, and I saw it through this tweet from Jimmy Stuart. The team's feeling was that a $313.5 million contract comes with the responsibilities to do what is right for the team, and that Devers did not live up to those responsibilities. They had enough, and they traded him. Now, I've said it on this show before. I don't think Rafael Devers is the best teammate in the world. I do think it's bad that he refused to change positions and help the team out. But is that worth trading him for nothing? Because to me, that's a big, big deal. That's a huge deal to just trade him for a bunch of nobodies. Because I go back to in the mid-aughts when this was the best organization in baseball, and you had Manny Ramirez on the team. A guy who made up, grievances, made up people in his family that were dying so he didn't have to play games, wouldn't show up for a series. His teammates trying to beat him up in the locker room because they felt he was hurting their team. And slapping around his wife. That guy, Manny Ramirez, you kept him on your team. And then when he was on expiring contract, you traded him for an all-star at the trade deadline. The Red Sox take a guy who isn't a great teammate, but isn't exactly not showing up. He's not slapping around women, okay? And he's one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball. They traded him in his prime for nothing. I get it's a big contract, but by the way, Juan Soto's getting paid about $750 million. How bad does 313 look? I get it. The end of that contract's not going to be great. But you've got him. He's your DH. He's in his prime. You're a winning team right now. Why are you doing this now? Why do you get nothing for him? I know it's a lot of money for the Giants to take on, but they offer that kind of contract to someone every year in free agency. They've been desperate to get a home run hitter. They haven't had a 30 home run hitter since Barry Bonds. And you couldn't make them give up anything? Like anything at all? Who are these guys? Jordan Hicks. Let's go through it. Let's go through what the Red Sox got in return. It's like getting a fucking donut from Dunkin' at 9 p.m. It's like chewing through cardboard. That was their return on this thing. Jordan Hicks, 28-year-old failed starter on his fourth organization. They have tried so desperately to make him a starter. This is like a poor man's Joe Kelly. Okay, throws 99. He used to close out in St. Louis. He cannot start. He's got an ERA of 6.5 this year. They've moved into the bullpen, and he's got an injury. That is the centerpiece of this Raffy Devers trade right there. You remember last week when I did the Duran trade packages, and I thought about San Diego, and they had Jeremiah Estrada, the big-time setup man, and in that trade package had their number one prospect, and I thought, that might be tough to center a trade around a reliever. The Red Sox centered a Raffy Devers trade around a reliever. It did not get any number one prospect out of it. San Francisco already sent him to the bullpen, and he's the centerpiece of that trade. Then you get Kyle Harrison, who might be the only somewhat redeeming player in this trade, but I say somewhat because 23-year-old left-handed starter, third MLB season, so he's got some experience, has a record. I know record is not what it used to be for a starting pitcher, but in his 3 seasons, 2.5, his records are 1-1, 7-7, and 1-1. So there you go. Has never had an ERA under 4, 4.56, the exact ERA this year, which is what he had last year. And this year he has thrown 23 innings in 8 appearances. Do the math there. Yeah, not quite squeaking out 3 innings and appearance. Half of those were starts. So that's another guy. 2 pitchers they did not deem good enough for their starting rotation are the big pieces in a Raffy Devers trade. Then you've got James Tibbs, something called James Tibbs. He's going to turn 23 this year in a couple of weeks. He's in high A ball in his age 23 season. He was a first-round pick last year. Controversial, though, at a pick number 13 because everybody said, surprised he even went in the first round at all because his ceiling is very low. He's got a high floor, low ceiling, and he was picked 13th overall. Well, he's gone already. They had no problem parting with him. 246 batting average, 857 OPS, which is decent in high A ball this year. How about this for the whole trade? The Giants have one top 100 prospect. One, Bryce Eldridge, who plays Raffy Devers' position, quote unquote, third base. The Giants have 1 prospect in the MLB pipeline top 100, and the best they gave you was their number 4 prospect. Number 4 in a dog shit farm system. And the last guy is Jose Bayo, a 20-year-old pitcher who is basically in the instructional league this year. He's playing in rookie ball at their spring training facility. That's what you got for Raffy Devers with his 152 OPS plus this year in the prime of his career. Like, if you want to tell me it's a locker room cancer thing, or you want to tell me it's just too much of a salary, I'm almost like, fine. If he's 33 years old, that's what you do. He's 28. And again, they're finally starting to win. We had this team in the preseason looking like a playoff team, right? A lot of people thought that. Okay, now you've called the kids up. They're on the roster. The team is winning. And now all of a sudden you say, we're not a win-now team. I know we've just won 5 in a row. We're firmly back in the playoff picture. But they're now telling you, wait till next year again. That's when we're really going to be good. There's year after fucking year with this shit. They finally have a roster there, and then they tell you it again. Later. We got you later. What the fuck, man? When do they start to be a serious organization again? Like, if you're a Red Sox fan, how can you blame any Red Sox fan for, like, rage quitting this entire season? You're finally happy about something with a team we can actually get behind. And they trade their best hitter for nothing. They didn't even shop him around the league. I'm going to talk about more in the next segment on that. But like, I get it. $250 million is a lot of money to take on. San Francisco is not a terribly small market, by the way. I mean, it's not that much smaller than Boston in terms of an MLB market. It's pretty close. So taking on $250 million is a lot. But how do you get nothing in return for that? And why now? Why now? It's a month and a half before the trade deadline. You couldn't deal with it that much longer? Again, I just look at Red Sox history, and I can't sit here and tell you, oh, it's because he was a locker room cancer. When I look at the success the Red Sox had for years with locker room cancers, and 2 World Series with Manny Ramirez, and everyone thinks Curt Schilling is like the worst guy of all time. Guess what? He was there for 2 of them too. And oh yeah, by the way, I think it's all this great cutesy story and everything, but David Ortiz didn't know Dustin Pedroia's name even after he won an MVP. That doesn't scream like great locker room guy to me either. He was there for 3 of them. You paid him as a DH for over a decade. But Raffy Devers can't have it. Can't have it. Like, I get it. I'm not saying he's a great teammate. They had to fly the owners out there to tell him to play a different position, and he didn't. And he's taking ground balls at shortstop. He looks like a dickhead. But does that justify this trade? I came across yesterday after the win, and I really thought it was a joke. Like I said, Red Sox trading Devers. They have another guy named Devers in Double-A that they're trading. And to see this return, you're a worse baseball team. Why? I just don't understand where it's coming from. I got nothing on this one. Like, I really don't know why they did this at all. You are a much worse baseball team on June 16th than you are on June 15th. I really don't get it, guys. Maybe I'm thinking of it too simplistically, but to get rid of your best player on a salary dump, I'm not even going to say all these moves that I'm about to list are terrible or were terrible at the time, but like, you've got a generation of Red Sox fans that grows up with that, 2016 to 2018 legit contenders every year. They have the best team in Red Sox history in 2018. They win the World Series. And then this all happens. Then you trade Mookie Betts. Then you let Xander Bogaerts walk. And then you trade Chris Sale. And then you trade Raffy Devers. It's like, what the fuck are we rooting for here? Like this, we're going to have the same anxiety that the Pirates fans have. Oh no, I've got a good player. When am I going to trade him? Is the clock already ticking on this guy's Red Sox career? Because here's another homegrown guy that even after everyone else was dealt and left to walk, right? You extend him as your cornerstone guy, your face of the franchise guy, on a deal you knew was going to be bad at the back end. We're not even close to the back end. He's in his prime. And you salary dumped him. Oh, well, that's going to free up a lot more money to sign the young guys. How much money did you need freed up? Cedar Rafaela, Brian Bayo, Christian Campbell, you all signed them for 6 to 8 year deals, topping out at $64 million. Like, you've already got the model to sign them to cheap deals. All of a sudden, it's not going to work. You just did one 2 months ago. It's not going to work now. It's not going to work with Roman Anthony or Christian Campbell, or Marcelo Meyer. It's not going to work with those guys. That's what you expect us to believe. It just worked 3 times in the last 2 years. And the Red Sox aren't going to use this $250 million to go and get the next best player in baseball. They're not going to do that. And if they do, they're not going to do it till the offseason. You've punted this season. A season with a ton of expectations, and just when you start to turn around, you punt it. Why? 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 Genuinely, why? Why this? Why now? I've not heard any explanation that actually makes sense. I get the $250 million, a lot of money. You're the fucking Boston Red Sox. We bitch about them not spending money for years. They finally do it, and then they trade that guy in his prime in the middle of a season where he's having a great season. And for what? And for what? To replenish your farm system? No, you're not doing that. By the way, you already have a good one. To really bolster your starting rotation? No. You got two starters who weren't deemed good enough to be starters this year. Like right now, they're not good enough. You traded them for two depth bullpen guys. And a guy in high A ball that nobody thinks has a ceiling. What the fuck? Like, seriously. This is asinine. It's completely insane. It's the most random, dumbest, out of nowhere Red Sox trade we've ever seen. I just, like, what the hell, man? Genuinely, what the hell? That's the question we will continue to try to answer in this show. Please, guys, if you know the answer, please let me know in the comment section below. Why did they do this? Why was this a good move? Was it a good move for you? Some people are thinking that. I don't get it. I think it's dumb, but please correct me in the comments below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are bringing you nothing but Boston sports content, so like and subscribe if you hate this Raffy Devers trade. And if you don't, let me know why in the comments. We're here on YouTube live at high noon Eastern time every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the other videos on the channel talking Red Sox and everything Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week.